Good evening and welcome back to Be Rich. If you are a follower of Indian stock markets, you would have seen that oil marketing companies have cracked and cracked big time. Whereas ONGC's price has gone up and the profits have gone up double more than price. Its stocks soaring because its net profit, consolidated profits have gone up more than 100%. What is the difference? On one side, you have importers of oil, and the other side, you have the only company which digs a little bit of crude that is there in the country. Of course, Reliance has contracts on some oil fields, but most of the oil in this country is dug up by ONGC, which represents about 15 to 20% of India's crude oil requirements. This means crude oil prices have gone up, and as of now, crude is trading at $89 a barrel. I am talking of Brent. This crude prices was expected to shoot up when Russia-Ukraine war went up, and the sanctions on Russia were supposed to bite. But countries like China and India came to the rescue of our good friend Russia and kept buying oil, and therefore the Russian war effort was sustained. The ruble, as soon as the war started, crashed to 150. If you go back 18 months, I have done a program in Be Rich. And then it immediately shot back to 80. Everybody celebrated because the Russian central bank took back interest rates as high as 20%. And from 20%, they kept on cutting rates. And it went as low as 1.5%. And now they have gone back to 8.5%. As I speak to you today, they are meeting to decide what they are going to do further. Because the ruble has slipped and slid past 100 again. From January 2023, the amount of pressure that has been on ruble has been tremendous. It has fallen 26%. What does this mean? That the ruble is worthless and people don't want it. The usual knee-jerk explanation given by Russians is that their exports have suffered. Their exports have not suffered. Good friends like India and China are still buying. Prices are high. So the Russians are not giving it at cheap at $60 anymore. In fact, the Russian foreign minister told his Indian friend that he cannot accept payment in rupees till a couple of months back because he has no use for those rupees. But to contradict him, what has now happened is demand for imports have really shot up in the Soviet Union, in the former Soviet Union, that is current Russia. And therefore, there's a huge pressure on ruble because the rest of the world will not accept ruble, and so they are looking for scarce dollars. The central bank has put enormous pressure and by restricting capital movement and capital flow and trying to conserve what little dollar it had. In spite of all these efforts, the ruble has continued to sink. Not only has Putin's war meandered to a halt, his economy, which I told at that time, in the short term, Russia may be victorious, but in the long term, the American sanctions will bite. They may bite, but slowly, but will bite and bite hard. And that is what is happening in Russia. Even if they raise interest rates now, the ruble may go back up, but with tight capital controls, which makes import of no goods or services possible. And high interest rate means that small and medium business will collapse altogether. Russia does not have large companies because they are either state controlled or owned by oligarchs who are present friends of the ruling dispensation. The people who are going to suffer are the middle class and the small business because outside capital is not flowing into Russia. So it will turn up into a negative feedback loop where the Russian ruble will be negatively impacted and will keep coming down. What does this mean for Russia? All of Russia's imports are going to become more costly. Russia is a net importer, and as imports become more costlier, the pressure on the ruble will increase further. It's a reflexive connection. At the same time, the war effort is not going to change because even if China is willing to supply weapons, it would prefer payment in gold or in dollars and is not definitely going to accept the worthless rupees. Even so-called friends of Russia who are supplying them with arms and armaments would want payment in hard currency, not in their own currency or that of the ruble. Plus, in spite of conscription, there seems to be no progress in the war. The war has reached a stalemate where Russian forces have been pushed back to the levels they were on the day of the war. And the President Zelensky is talking of a counterattack. All this is because there's a huge increase in price of oil. The price in oil is not gone up because demand has spiked. One of the biggest consumers of oil, that is China, is in deflation and will definitely consume less oil than before. And therefore, oil prices have to fall. America, other big consumer, is insulated from the world market because it produces most of the crude it requires. In fact, all the crude it requires and exports some. So, clearly the problem in crude is the fact that the cartel that OPEC had is working because they have said they wanted to cut the production of crude, with Saudi Arabia leading the way to make sure the crude price stays higher. And this is what has happened. Any price, this has negative implications for Russia, but at the same time has negative implications for the world stock market. Because most of us were prematurely celebrating when the inflation reading before the current reading showed a big drop. The drop came from fuel prices. So the core inflation had not come down, and what had come down was only the retail inflation. And retail inflation since then has picked up again. So you are having Russia forcing rising prices of cereals, rising prices of oil, hoping it would just affect other countries. In fact, for America, this is a boon. This will allow the Fed to increase interest rates further and keep more gunpowder ready when there is a problem. The real problem losers are China and Russia. One is fighting a war, which he is losing. The Russians have no stake in this. They are not fighting for their fatherland or motherland. The Lithuanians are in fact fighting for the motherland. And therefore, Russian soldiers at best can be mercenaries. And not everybody wants to find a war. All working age population who are not in this war effort or have already fled Russia. Russia has a declining population, and this forced migration means the top brains will leave the country. Things don't look for rosy for Russia and its friends. So, the longer this sanction drags, the harder it is going to be for Putin to win this war. It may end up in humiliation for him over the long term. As of today, it is very clear that commodity prices are going up because supplies are being constrained, and this will make the fight against inflation for America more difficult because even though they are mining all the oil, it's in the private sector and the price is fixed by them. It is extremely tough for America to mandate its private enterprise to sell below cost, which they will not. So, inflation in America is not going away. It's time for you to invest carefully, have a theme, and then go about investing. In the coming weeks, my team will talk to you. Shashwat and Vinod will talk about stocks which you can consider in the US market. Thank you for watching. Be rich. If you like this content, hit the like button, subscribe to my channel, and write the comments. Vinod and Shashwat will reply to these comments. Kindly subscribe to our channel and turn on the bell notification. If you have done all of the above, send this video to your friends and relatives and have them take a look. Once again, happy Independence Day. It's a great privilege and honor that so many of you in thousands have subscribed to my channel and have supported me. I have written 2 books in English, The Alchemy of Money and Ordinary Stocks, Extraordinary Profits. These books are published by us and are ready. If you want to procure a copy, send us a message to the WhatsApp number given below and my team would respond to you. If you want an Amazon Kindle copy, you can click the link below. Finally, those who wish to consult with me can send a mail to berichenglish@gmail.com. Once again, I thank you for your support. If you like this video, press the subscribe button of my channel, hit the like button and turn on the bell notification.